Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom are getting Switch 2 editions for the launch of the Nintendo Switch 2. Well, today I'm going to round up all the information we got so far, including the graphics, the performance, the DLC, how much are these things going to cost, plus also, are Nintendo going to support your cloud saves? Well, if you enjoyed the video, then hit that subscribe button down below for even more Zelda content here on Triforce Times. Well, first of all, we've got improved performance, so both Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom Switch 2 editions are going to have enhanced graphics and improved frame rates, plus also support for HDR. Load times are going to be reduced as well, meaning teleporting around Hyrule is going to be so much quicker. On the original Nintendo Switch, the loading screen between the Naru Tower and the shrine lasted about 29.85 seconds, then on Nintendo Switch 2, the load time's been cut down to about 19.2 seconds, so that is roughly a 35% improvement, so waiting to teleport is noticeably much shorter than it used to be. The performance of the Switch 2 also improves the previously laggy areas in the game. For example, the Korok Forest maintains a perfect 60 frames per second all throughout gameplay. Well, I've got some other points here on performance. So, Nintendo executive Nate Bildorf said, Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom will not have as many frame rate problems on the Switch 2. The Switch versions of both Zelda titles experience FPS drops in the foliage-intense regions, like the Korok Forest. The Switch 2 enhanced graphical capabilities will smooth things out in both games, though player-made auto-build creations still might be able to push the limits of the performance. And both editions are going to launch on June the 5th alongside the Switch 2 console. So I do have a little bit more information here from Nate Bildorf, and he is of course an executive with Nintendo of America. So Nate said, the first thing I did when I booted up the Nintendo Switch 2 edition of Breath of the Wild, I went to the Korok Forest, because I knew the area previously had been the heaviest processing load, and as I walked around, all this foliage is finally be able to get rendered, and I still think it's absolute wizardry that the Switch hardware was still able to run as well. But there's no question that this area saw the biggest performance hit, and here on Nintendo Switch 2, I saw no frame rate dips. I will say though, nothing's perfect. I think especially with Tears of the Kingdom, the amount of stuff that you can do in that game is impossible to predict because of the access they've given you to building things. I mean, the mechs that people build that go striding through the environment and launching a gazillion missiles, there are probably still going to be ways that you can go beyond the stress of the system, but so far I haven't found any yet. So next up we have an additional save slot, so we're going to get an additional save slot with both Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom. And Nintendo say with 2 save files you can start a brand new adventure or continue with the previous one with your existing save data. Save data created in the second save data slot in the Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild Nintendo Switch 2 edition cannot be transferred to the Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild on Nintendo Switch, so that point there is worth bearing in mind. Next up we've got the cost. So the standalone cost of the Switch 2 edition of Breath of the Wild is going to be $70 and Tears of the Kingdom is going to be $80. However, if you already have the games, then you'll be able to buy a Switch 2 upgrade pack for $10 each. And also I think this is probably the best option. If you've got Nintendo Switch Online with the expansion pack, then you're going to get both upgrades included for no additional cost. Well, next up we've got Zelda Notes, so you're going to be able to use the new Zelda Notes feature in the Nintendo mobile app for both Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom Switch 2 editions. I have done a deep dive on the channel recently about Zelda Notes, so do go and check out the full video there. You know, this app, or the feature in the app Zelda Notes, is going to help you navigate the environments like Google Maps. There's going to be new voice memories, new lore, auto-build and item sharing, and also daily bonuses as well. Next up we've got Breath of the Wild DLC. So the DLC for Breath of the Wild is not included in the Switch 2 edition of the game. So if you want to play that, then that is going to be a separate purchase. There had been reports that all data for the game would be included with the Switch 2 edition, however Nintendo later clarified their position and said this. So, Nintendo say the Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild Nintendo Switch 2 edition does not include the Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild Expansion Pass DLC. That DLC is available as a separate purchase. But this video is brought to you by Triforce Times Backstage. This is available through Patreon or YouTube membership, and you're going to get exclusive benefits, plus you'll be able to go above and beyond to support Triforce Times. Free content is core to Triforce Times, and you can continue to enjoy these videos that you know and love. However, if you want to enjoy the benefits like early access, our community Discord, shoutouts in the credits of videos, content polls and exclusive videos, then select the tier that is right for you and join Triforce Times Backstage today. So help me make Triforce Times be even bigger and better, plus you're going to get some added benefits for a small fee every month. Well, thank you for listening, and now it's time to go back to the video. Well, next up we got cloud saves. So the Switch 2 editions won't support cloud saves, and at the time of making this video, it's not clear why this is the case. On the store pages for both Zelda Breath of the Wild and Zelda Tears of the Kingdom on Switch 2, there is a description that says, "Please note, this software does not support Nintendo Switch Online paid memberships save data cloud backup feature." So this same disclaimer is not there for other Switch 2 editions of the games. For example, Super Mario Party Jamboree, Metroid Prime 4 or Kirby and the Forgotten Land. It's unclear as to why this is only impacting the Zelda games. So you might be asking yourself, why does this matter? Well, players can import their save data file from the original Switch to continue using the Switch 2 edition of the game, but then they won't be able to create new cloud save data files as they continue. And following on from that, it seems that even if players start a new save using the Switch 2 edition, they won't be able to back up their save file either. But why would this only impact the Zelda games and not the other games? For now, the reason is unknown, and while it is unclear at the moment, hopefully Nintendo are going to clarify before they launch. Well, next up we got all data on the cartridge. So Nintendo have confirmed all data is going to be available on the actual game cartridge without a download. First party Nintendo titles are going to contain the full game data, but it may be a different story for third party titles. So a Nintendo spokesperson said about Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom Switch 2 editions, physical versions of Nintendo Switch 2 edition games will include the original Nintendo Switch game and its upgrade pack all on the same game card. For example, they are exclusively Nintendo Switch 2 game cards with no download codes. Nintendo added further, alternatively, some publishers may release Nintendo Switch 2 edition games as a download code in a physical packaging with no game card. So it's good news for all you collectors out there who don't want to just buy a box and get a download code. Personally, I quite like buying physical, though I imagine with the next generation consoles I'll probably transfer over to mainly all digital. Finally, we have new amiibos. Nintendo have revealed new Tears of the Kingdom amiibo, which are going to be ready to launch on the 5th of June 2025 alongside the launch of the Switch 2. This includes all of these sages from Tears of the Kingdom, including Tulin, Yonobo, Riju and Sidon, and when scanned in the game they're going to unlock new glider fabrics as well as weapons and materials, and with Zelda Notes you can now use each amiibo an extra time per day, and also a Mineru's construct is also in development, but that additional amiibo is coming soon after launch. Well, let me know in the comments, are you going to be getting Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom Switch 2 editions for your new Nintendo Switch 2? Let me know down in the comments what you think about all the new features for the Switch 2 editions. I would love to hear what you think. Well, that is it for the video today, looking at everything that we know about the Legend of Zelda, Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom Switch 2 editions. Well, thank you so much for watching or for listening, and don't forget to hit that subscribe button down below for even more Zelda content here on Triforce Times. And thanks again, I'll see you in the next video.